Along with all the thrilling aspects relevant to motorsports events, weird incidents do happen. Welcome to 10 Town. Hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon, as today we're going to talk about the 30 weirdest moments in motorsport events. So, without further ado, let's dig right into the meat. 30. This tow truck just had to transport this F1 car on the forklift to a certain place, but it failed as the F1 car slipped off the forklift and hit the protective wall. The car suffered more due to this collision than the actual crash during the race. 29. Well, wheelie on bikes is quite common and everyone could do that, so here's something altogether different, as Cruz Petrogel's car rose up on its rear two wheels at a speed of 350 kilometers an hour. Fun fact, car crossed the finish line being on its rear two wheels.
Roll over, and he was able to maintain the run, cross the finish line, and win the round.
28. If some issue happens with one individual, that's fine. But what if the same issue happens with 5 individuals in the same event? During the 2013 British Grand Prix, 5 different drivers had their rear wheels blown up. The first one of all the blowing tires was of the race leader Lewis Hamilton. His tire ruptured at the speed of 193 kilometers an hour. Same happened with 4 more drivers later on. 27. Tire changing during motorsport events has to be quick, and here's footage of one of the fastest pit stops ever in which a McLaren was dropped without changing the tire. What is the benefit of being quick if McLarens coming to you to change tires end up in a workshop? 26. Oliver Soderstrom cut of Robin Brusina, but both of them ended up in the gravel. Well, the race didn't end there, as both the drivers were seen running as furious Brusina was running behind Soderstrom, who started running to avoid nasty blows of Brusina's fists.
Ein Schelm, der Böses dabei denkt, wenn wir über das Wort Kindergarten nachdenken.
25. You have to see more than what your eyes are showing you. As for Andre Mickelson, the 2017 World Rally Championship started with the sudden opening of his car's hood. He continued to be in the race blind because he had already lost 26 seconds.
Andreas surprisingly only lost 26 seconds peering through that bonnet.
Mickelson drove through the whole tracks and also pulled off this amazing drift. 24. The Monaco Grand Prix safety crew dropped a car from a crane onto the track in the middle of the race. Guess which car they dropped? It was a McLaren that cost $2.5 million. Well, all that makes us say is big brain time, as the people who get paid for ensuring safety made such a ridiculous mistake. Seriously, guys, you had one job. 23. The trend of autonomous vehicles is growing with every passing day. But autonomy, not in every sense, is fruitful, as this rider was thrown away by his own motorcycle, which wanted to cross the finish line all on its own. 22. Michael Schumacher was leading the 1998 Belgium Grand Prix until David Coulthard decided to brake right in front of his car. Michael's car's front wheel got separated due to the collision, but the guy did not stop racing. He continued with 3 wheels, and after the race, Schumacher burst into Coulthard's garage accusing him of making an attempt on his life.
What's he up to? He's storming down the pit lane, presumably to go. Look at him, he's...
21. Well, all of you must have seen overtaking cars, but just look at this cool new way as Simon Hodge's Formula Ford leaps into the air and flies past his opponent driver. How many of you remember the "Come Fly With Me" cheat code from the good old Grand Theft Auto Vice City days? 20. Well, you must have seen many Guinness World Records, but have you ever witnessed something like Eric Amarala's strike? He was going at 225 kilometers an hour while pulling off this amazing strike. What would you name a man who is a professional in both driving and bowling like Eric? 19. The probability of a person getting a woman increases boundlessly if he owns a decent ride. Same was the case with David Hauser, who may have finished 3rd in the European Hill Climb Championship, but he did not leave alone as he offered this beautiful woman a ride, and it went good for both of them. 18. You might have cruised on the streets with your friend, but not like this. William Alatello was just driving into the pits when he noticed Aaron de Camberti suddenly realized that he missed him, and his car ended up on Williams's. They continued this way for a while until Alatello braked. 17. Cars do fly when at high speeds the drivers lose control of their ride's harnesses. Same was the case with this Mercedes, which took off at the speed of 300 kilometers an hour. After 4 backflips, Peter Dumbreck's Mercedes landed in the trees. 16. Well, if you don't fix your helmet before the race starts, you cannot blame other people for anything. Just look at this guy. After achieving a high speed, he starts to fix his helmet, and the moment he falls off his bike, he starts blaming the other rider. Don't you guys think that pose is a good meme material? 15. Honestly, all these F1 cars should be 3-wheelers, as Lewis Hamilton in his final lap lost one of his tires but kept racing and crossed the finish line. 14. JD Beach was surely not having a good day, as in the middle of the track and in the middle of the race, his body was sailing over the bike, so he simply side-straddled his Yamaha to achieve his balance back. Right after doing so, he got back into the race. Smooth little transition, fella. 13. This marshal grabbed the crane hook to pick up the car, but the crane picked him up instead. Well, this shows that we are not always in control of where we want things to end up, and more importantly, where we want ourselves to end up. 12. A 360 on a car is not easy to pull off. Look how Marcus Palmer spins his Audi R8, a full 360. Maybe he wanted to get an idea of where his opponents were, but he had trust issues with the mirrors, so he went for this mind-blowing alternate.
Slides out, and wow! A complete
11. Bike champion Brett Cadena was lucky to walk away unscathed after he spectacularly flipped his supercharged motorbike during a drag racing event in Perth. He watched the footage back during an interview post-event with a smile on his face. 10. Ending up in the wrong lane is troublesome, but not more than ending up in a racetrack where you suddenly get to see cars approaching you at mammoth speeds right from the front. The same happened with this guy, but luckily there was a minor collision and no major injuries. The only loss he faced was in the form of a broken side mirror. 9. Just have a look at this flying Porsche 996 GT1 that performed a perfect backflip during the Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta. Maybe he had flying cars in 1998, but suddenly all the vendors forgot how to produce them in modern times. Number 8. During the 2017 Monte Carlo Rally, Syrian Pernina's car got stuck in a ditch. Random people tried to take his car out while he couldn't even manage to stay on his feet. 7. These two Minardi Fords were already approaching the finish line until Martini decided to knock out his opponent like most of us knocked police vehicles in Need for Speed Most Wanted. Pitt Paldi's car went airborne and after a backflip kept driving towards the finish line on 3 wheels. 6. The Amarala Bathurst 12-hour-long race had to stop because a tree had fallen on the road. 5. Now this is what we call collateral damage, as Daniel Hunkadaya crashed into a wall during the Macau Grand Prix and Lars Vantor couldn't get around his Mercedes. What happened next was simply clean, as another 14 cars crashed into him one by one. Number 4. We've shown you clips of people racing with 3-wheel, but here's something even more interesting, as both the front wheels flew off Sebastian Rosso when he was practicing for the Chinese Grand Prix. Number 3. You ever seen someone drive without a steering wheel? Or more interestingly, have you ever seen someone racing without a steering wheel? If no, just look at Dale Earnhardt Jr., whose steering wheel fell off at a speed of 183 kilometers an hour, and he started steering his cars with his hands. Number 2. In the middle of a race, these two $300,000 Porsches just got parked on each other during the Porsche Carrera Cup in France. We really hope we don't get banned by YouTube for going against their sensitive content policies with this one. Number 1. During the 2018 Dakar, Alessandro Jacopini's Toyota just mimicked a dead man dive and plunged into the sand. The car ended up in a vertical position with its headlight and hood buried straight into the sand. You can also see furious Alessandro making his way out of the car. So guys, that was our list of 30 weirdest moments in motorsport events. That has been it for our side. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace!